Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in, and it is time for the Week 14 Power Rankings. We are 4 weeks away from the NFL regular season being over. Lord, time has went by fast, and at this point, a lot of things are starting to get determined, whether it's playoff picture, whether it's elimination, whether it's draft picks or draft order. A lot of things are starting to get in place now. But it's time to get in my Week 14 rankings. Without further ado, let's dive into it. Okay, guys, this is my list from last week. Screenshot it, take a look at it. This is what happened last week. Now, it's time to get into this week. All right, I'm going to start with the teams who have a bye week. You guys know, you have a bye week, can't move up or down because you don't play football. Baltimore, I had them at the S tier, keep them there. Buffalo Bills, I had them at the B, keep them there. The Bears, my Chicago Bears didn't play last week. No stress, thank God. They're going to be at a D. I had them a D, keeping them at a D. Next, we're going to have the Las Vegas Raiders. Where are they at? I'm going to have them at a C. I had them at a C. Minnesota Vikings, I had them at a C as well. And then we have the New York Giants, who I had at a D. Let's move on to this week's games and this week's teams. First, we're going to start off with the Arizona Cardinals pulling off a big upset against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm still going to keep this team at a D, but they looked mighty impressive against a very solid Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And that offense, with James Conner having a big game against his former team, the Steelers, that was a good, impressive showing by them. And Kyler Murray being back has kind of given this team somewhat of a boost. It's still not a very good football team, but you could tell it's somewhat of a difference to this team. Next is the Atlanta Falcons coming off a win against the New Orleans Saints. No, not the New Orleans Saints, excuse me, the New York Jets. That offense did not look good. I'm going to keep them at a B because they got the win, but Lord, that did not look good. It did not look good. And a takeaway from them is they need to draft a quarterback. I'm sorry, Desmond Ridder isn't it. Taylor Heineke, as good of a backup he is, just not the long-term answer. I think the Falcons at this point need to go up and draft a quarterback in 2024 draft. That's just me. Next is the Carolina Panthers. I mean, come on now. Not a good football team. I mean, what more can you say? Worst record in the league, all that stuff. Next is the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to put the Bengals at a B. Upset win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, we do know some stuff that happened down the line with that game, but they looked impressive. Jake Browner looked well. Joe Mixon got going as far as the running game going. They got Jamar Chase involved. The defense struggled a little bit, but at the end of the day, they did enough to pull out an upset victory over the Jaguars. Next is the Cleveland Browns. This team has been tough to watch all season because the quarterback play hasn't been great. I had them in an A. I'm dropping them to a B. I'm dropping the Browns to a B. It's just, I think if they had consistent quarterback play, I think, and to be honest, the more I watch the Browns, the more I start to think they're last year's Jets. As in, great defense, very good running game, even with Chubb being out, Kareem Hunt being in there. I think they are a good quarterback play away from being a better football team, and I think I'm having a better record than what they have now. So I think the Browns are that type of team with last year's Jets. So next, we're going to have the Dallas Cowboys. It's crazy to think, but I'm going to put the Cowboys in an S tier. Dak Prescott is playing MVP level football. Now that defense struggled a little bit, but Dallas is playing some really good offense. Tony Pollard got going. CeeDee Lamb has been really stellar all season. Dak Prescott's playing MVP level ball. He's spreading the football out to some of his weapons. So I'm going to put the Cowboys at an S for now. But Cowboys are at an S. Next, we're going to have the Denver Broncos. The winning streak was snapped by the Houston Texans, but they still play really good football, and I'm going to put them at a B still for this week because at the end of the day, I really believe that this Broncos defense they've been on an upward trajectory, even though they lost, but I still think this team is still a very solid football team, and I'm going to put them at a B. Next, we're going to have the Detroit Lions. Ooh, this is another tough team to rank, but they are a football team. They had this game early. I mean, they looked like they was going to blow the doors off, but this defense by the Lions is just so... Outside of Aiden Hutchinson, they really don't get up to the quarterback very well. It's just been so inconsistent on the defensive side of the ball for me with this Lions team. And I think if they would have had a little bit more consistency on the defensive side of the ball, I think more people would start to talk about them as being a complete football team because that offense can score points in bunches and we've seen it. It's just defensively, they've just been so inconsistent. So I'm going to put them at A. Next, we are going to have the Green Bay Packers, who I had at a B, and I'm going to keep them at a B. They did just enough to beat the Chiefs. I think they're causing them to turnovers. I think them pressuring the Holmes a little bit, and Jordan Love has been playing some really good football over the last couple of weeks. I hate to praise the Packers this way because I'm a Bears fan, but I have to call a spade a spade. This team has been playing some really solid football as of late, and they are at a B tier for me. This might be one of the more crazier things I've ever done. But the way the Texans are playing football right now, I had them at a B. It might be crazy, but I might have to move the Texans up to an A. CJ Stroud is to me, not just me being biased as a Ohio State fan, I think he's should be talked about in the level of an MVP conversation. I'm not saying he's going to win it, but he should be mentioned and talked about at that level, the way he's playing football. That defense is still playing some really good football. This is a young football team led by D'Amico Ryan's head coach, who is my coach of the year right now. They're playing some really, really good football on both sides of the football. It sucks that Tank Dell went down with injury for the year, and I want to see how the offense is going to look now that Tank Dell is not going to be in the lineup the rest of the year, and he was having an impressive rookie season. But I'm going to put the Texans at an A. Staying in the AFC South, the Indianapolis Colts, they were at a C. They beat the Titans. I think I'm going to move the Colts up to a B. It's still crazy that they released Shaquille Darius Leonard, but I believe this football team is an average football team right now. Jonathan Taylor, he hasn't been really getting them explosive that we're accustomed to seeing from Jonathan Taylor, but the running game has been okay. Minshew has been playing a lot better over the past couple of weeks. And defense has been playing better, so I'm going to move the Colts up to a B. The Jacksonville Jaguars, I had them in an S tier, and a lot of people thought it was crazy for me to do. But I'm going to move them down to an A tier. Number one, you let the Bengals beat you without Burrow and the way the Bengals were playing. Two, you lose Trevor Lawrence in the game, which sucks. Christian Kirk out, which sucks for me on my fantasy team as well. But they did do some things offensively that I liked, but it's just they were one of the little borderline shouldn't be S-tier teams. I know I got a lot of hate for it, but after the loss and Lawrence and them being down, I'm going to have to drop them to an A. Next is the Kansas City Chiefs. A tier. A tier for me. This was more than one difficult teams to rank, but when you watch this Chiefs offense, it seems like their ability to push the ball down the field is just not there. And I'm not talking about move the football. I'm talking about those deep shots, some of those deep plays that they've been accustomed to seeing. It's just not there. Pacheco, I love what he's been doing in the running game with this Chiefs offense. And defensively, they didn't look great against the Packers and Jordan Love. This Chiefs team is just, when you watch them, it just seems like something is missing. It doesn't seem like that offense is feared anymore. We know we have Kelsey, but it just does not seem like people are fearing the Chiefs offense like we once did. That's just me. That's just the way I see it. Next is the Los Angeles Chargers, one of the more head-scratching teams in the NFL. They got the win over the Patriots 6-0, but I still think Brandon Staley has to go. Brandon Staley has to go. It's just something that's always missing from this football team, and they have so much talent for them not to be a good football team. It's just too much talent there for them not to be this, for them to be bad. I'm sorry. It's just not a good team. And I think if the moment they let Brandon Staley go, I think the moment is when they start to be a better football team. That's just me. Next is the LA Rams, coming off a win against the Browns. We're going to keep them at a B. I like the way that Stafford is playing. Puka Nacua, the running game with Henderson and Williams has been playing really well. So I'm going to keep the Rams at a B for this week. The Miami Dolphins. This might be a team that might be crazy, but I'm going to put the Dolphins at an S tier. I'm going to put the Dolphins at an S tier. That offense is just very explosive. Defensively, it sucks without Jalen Phillips, but they are still playing some really good football. And I like the way that they use Tyreek Hill, and I like the way that McDaniel uses some of these motions and things to get the guys' weapons involved in the offense with Mostert and all those guys, and then Chain. So I'm going to put the Dolphins at an S tier. Might be crazy, but I'm going to put them there. The Patriots are just terrible. Patriots are a hard team to watch. They are a hard team to watch. They are a hard team to watch. They are a hard team to watch. This is terrible. I'm sorry. It's just awful. And the Saints, I'm putting the Saints at a C. I'm going to keep them there. They are hard to watch, too. Derek Carr's been battling some injuries. Defensively, it just seems like that it's usually been one of the backbones of their team the last couple of years. It has just seemed like some of those guys' ages are finally showing up. So I'm going to put them at a C tier. The New York Jets, I had to do it for the first time this year. I'm dropping them to a D. They have more problems than quarterback. Quarterback, yes, big problem. Offensive line, big problem. They can't get the running game going. Defensively, it's just been too much put on them. That offense is just so bad. And it's starting to look like the Broncos offense that Nathaniel Hackett led last year. So I'm going to put them at a D. Eagles, I'm keeping them at an S for now. But the way that they got drubbed by the Niners, and speaking of that game, the way that the Niners drubbed them, and I mean beat the hell out of the Eagles. The Eagles were a team that coming in, I picked the Niners to win this game because it just seems like the Eagles, yeah, they have been winning, but it just hasn't looked good all season. And the one thing that the 49ers did to take advantage of it is they just use Debo in so many different ways. The secondary for the Eagles has been so kind of a head scratch, and the linebacking core hasn't been great. So I'm going to put both of them at an S. I'm going to keep the Niners there. And speaking of the Niners, with Brock Purdy and the way he played and the way Debo was able to get them all around the field and the way Fred Warner and the defense was flying all around and making plays and making things happen, 49ers are the best team in football. Despite them not having the best record, I think they are the best team in football. So we're going to leave that there. Pittsburgh Steelers, I had them at a B. I'm keeping them there, but it sucks that Kenny Pickett is out. Trubisky, I'm rooting for him, you guys. If you guys watch this channel, I've always rooted for Trubisky. I think he got a bad hand with the Bears, but that's another story. That's another thing. But at the end of the day, offensively, it just looked bad against the Cardinals defense that we all know it's not that good. But I'm going to keep them at a B for now. Next, we're going to have the Seattle Seahawks. I'm keeping them at a B. They were right there in this game, despite some of the things that happened with them. I'm liking some of the things that I've seen from Seattle, and especially Geno Smith coming out of that injury, dealing with the elbow thing, and he played really good against the Cowboys defense. That's nothing to slouch on. It's just their defense could not make enough plays at the end of the day. That was a good football game watching it. I'm going to keep them at a B. Next is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, they got the win because it was Carolina. So can you really put too much stock in that? I don't think so. Tennessee. So I'm keeping them at a C. I'm keeping Tennessee at a C, but it's just like I've said before, this team just needs to kind of scrap things and kind of rebuild it. But that's just me. And Washington, back at a D. Ron Rivera, I think it's time for Ron Rivera to go. I really believe it's time for Ron Rivera to go. It's just not there. It's just not it. His team is not responding well at all. It's not playing good football at all. The defense is getting blown up. So it's time for Ron Rivera to go, in my opinion. But these are my rankings. That's what I got. Make sure you guys leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Leave this video a like and subscribe to the channel. But I am signing out. APW Sports. Make sure you guys have a great next day. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.